Have you ever sat down to your computer and started to do an email to someone and you get 3, 4, 5 lines done and you go back and read it and say, oh, this is no good. And you hit the delete button, I guess it's this one, and it's gone. Or maybe you're of the old school, of which I am. You get the pen out and the paper, dear, and I'm down 3, 4, 5 lines and I look at what I said and crumble up the page and get out a new one. Well, that's pretty easy to do on the computer or to crumble up the page. But what about life? Have you ever felt that things are really dull? What I did yesterday is the same thing I did a week ago Thursday. What I'm going to do tomorrow is the same thing I'm doing today. It's monotonous. And perhaps we ask ourselves, is there some way that I could start over? Well, that's pretty impossible. Some of us, when we get to our middle ages, that's been quite a while ago. we kind of have the feeling of, boy, I don't know if I'm going to make where I want to be by 65. We get restless and we start looking around. Maybe I should have chosen a different field. Maybe I should try something else. Few of us have a chance to do that by the time we're middle ages. We have other responsibilities. We have family, we're married, we have a job that maybe we've been at for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And who wants to make a change? In order to put the Christmas tree up, we have to take out one of the rockers and put it in the family room. I don't even like that change. So here we are. We're at the end of a year. And we say, there's really not much that we can do. It's true, we can't change the tide. We can't change the sun, the rain, the moon, the stars. Those are set in God's providence. But we are in control of ourselves. And so we can change some of those things if we really want to. Oh, that's not as tremendous as changing a job, perhaps, but it will give us new vigor and new thoughts and new experiences. And that's really what makes life worthwhile. On the first day of January, that's a good day to take a look at those things and see, are there some things that maybe you want to change? To make things a little less monotonous, a little more joyful, a little more feeling that I'm getting closer to what I think God wants me to be doing here, rather than just bumping along. I went in to see Jack a couple of years ago, I think, because I was going down the road bumping all the time. And I was really sick of that. And he said, well, why don't you fix it? And so we took care of the problem. We balanced things up. And I was no longer going down the road, bumping through life. We can do those sort of small changes that make big changes in our life. New Year's is a time when we should have the feeling that we have closed up a book. Or we're looking back and we're saying, I've completed this, so now I can remember it, and move on from that. I can start out with a new, fresh piece of paper, and I can write some things down that are really meaningful to me. Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, in a land far away, there lived a man named Moses. And he was part of a faraway country that we call Israel. Now, Israel had been in captivity for 400 years under Egyptian rule. They didn't know what leadership was in terms of themselves. They knew what it was in terms of getting a stripe across the back if you weren't working hard enough. But to take control of their life, no, that was gone. After that, God told Moses, enough is enough. Lead these people out. And he gave him miraculous powers. Parting the sea, turning his staff into a snake, locust plagues, all that stuff. And finally they're free. And God told Moses, lead them around. Don't let them in one place. They don't know what to do. You're their leader. Keep leading them around. Take them where their flocks can eat. And so for 40 years, Moses tramped through the desert with how many thousands of people after him. God said, we have to come up with a new generation, a new group of young people who are willing to take on leadership, who are willing to say, God will tell me what to do if I listen to him. And so toward the end of my little story, they're poised out on the outskirts of a country named Canaan. After 40 years of wandering back and forth, and the young men were chomping at the bit, so to speak. They wanted to get going. Yes, we're ready. We can take leadership. We can fight. We can do all of the things necessary to conquer this country, make it our own. God is with us. And Moses said, yeah, but wait a minute. You need to be sure that you understand how you got to this place. You need to learn not to forget what God has done for you in the past. You need to remember the past. We need to not use a delete button on 2013. There are things in there that we need to remember. Experiences with God that are important. And Moses said, God has guided you by his mercies. He has brought you safely to this new beginning, and you need not to forget that. You need to know that this is his plan. I'm wondering how many of us can look back and say, yes, I can remember things that God did for me back in 2013. Or has it been this monotonous road that I've been talking about? And you're saying, God was never there. It's the same all the time. We forget so easily, don't we? If it wouldn't have been for God's providence, you probably wouldn't be here. The sun, the rain, all those things are regulated, and we participate in them, and we need to give him